meeting for October 9th. If you would all join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Rich, are there any updates or changes to the agenda?
No changes to the agenda.
I'll move to approve the agenda as presented.
Second. Okay, thank you. Motion from Jen, seconded by Ed, to approve the agenda as presented. Any questions or comments on that? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Next up is the action on the minutes.
I'll move to approve the minutes for the regular meeting held on September 25th, 2023 as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion from Dave, seconded by Tracy, to update the minutes. Any questions on those? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, the minutes are approved. Next is action on vouchers.
I'll move to approve general checking account vouchers totaling $1,445,758.91 as presented.
I'll second that. Okay, we have a motion from John, seconded by Dave, to approve the vouchers that are listed there. Any questions or comments on those? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? The vouchers are approved. Thank you. Next up is public comment, and we do have one speaker tonight. Heather Moore, please come forward.
Good evening. Since I'm the only member of the public, I'm going to ask the board to maybe give me a little bit of extra time tonight because I'm talking about two things. So the first one I'm talking about is probably going to be being discussed by Mr. Diamond in the superintendent report. First of all, as a parent of a K-3 and a 4 through 6 grader, getting a note sent home or even an email 2 days before we're getting ready to go into a asynchronous learning day that we've been doing for, 3 years now, saying that my K-3 student is going to be bringing home their one-on-one device.
Heather,
And
can I
that
pause you
they-
just for a second?
Yeah, that's not
Sure,
really,
this is an agenda.
yeah, that's.
But she's going to be talking on the professional development day. Am I correct?
No, the professional development day is not on the agenda.
But are you going to be bringing it up in your superintendent highlight?
No.
I would take those questions to your child's teacher or principal.
That the district decided that they didn't have to turn anything in?
Take those questions to the
Okay.
teacher or the principal.
Okay.
Thank you.
So then, second thing I'm going to talk about is the legislative update that you guys will be getting briefed on today. So this one is in regards to the Senate bill that is going through that both the Assembly and the Senate have been hearing up. The Finance Committee and your Policy Committee apparently met last week, and I had requested to see if I could listen in. Unfortunately, I was denied once again on that, since I do have a job in Madison. But I'm also kind of an expert in how the legislature works since I do work up there. And I did speak with Mr. Dominic while he was up there testifying. Okay, well, on the Senate side, I spoke with him that day, and I also saw him testify on the Assembly side. So I'm sure you guys probably have heard, that the bill was exempt out of both committees. It's available for scheduling in both the Senate and the Assembly. But it is truly my hope that this is a learning exercise for this board, that when members of the public actually speak on a public comment and they're familiar with kind of how things work, that you'll actually take the time and listen to them rather than trying to go through and cause what could be an adverse effect, especially if this bill does not go through. You guys were lucky that there's 19 other schools that had the same injuries to their budgets as what you guys are going through.
Okay, 20
And
seconds, Heather.
my hope is that you guys have learned from this and that this is going forward, something that you will also take into consideration. Have a good day.
Okay, Rich, next up is the superintendent update.
Yeah, I have a few things that I want to highlight. In the Red Hawk highlights, we have some great things happening across our district. We have some North Side students, a group of 6th graders that traveled to Science Immersion Day. And students there experienced hands-on labs in robotics, engineering, and medical sciences. And they showed great teamwork and creative problem solving. It's an awesome opportunity for our 6th grade, some of our 6th grade students. Some folks have seen this already, but in our playgrounds and at Shilberg Park, we have communication boards that have been installed. And our speech and language pathologists and student services team have placed those communication boards on the playgrounds. They have icons for 4 words, and they enable students of all communication abilities to be able to connect. Those tools not only support students with diverse communication needs, but they also educate others on understanding differences between students. So our students will significantly benefit, and also community members will benefit from this. So if folks get a chance to visit our playgrounds, we encourage everyone to explore and use those new communication boards. Coming up, in partnership with the Milton Public Library, we'll be holding a multilingual learners event for all community families. It will be held at the Milton Public Library on October 23rd from 4:30 until 6 p.m. And it will be celebrating and sharing the traditions of the Day of the Dead. There'll be crafts, activities, family movie, costumes are welcome, and we're asking families to RSVP if they're planning to attend. We'll have more information coming out prior to October 23rd on social media and in our upcoming Red Hawk review. We have some student highlights. Red Hawks Jonathan Flowers and Bethany Vidrick have been named commended students in the 2024 National Merit Scholarship Program. More than 1.3 million students who take the preliminary SAT and National Merit Scholarship qualifying test, the top 3.8% qualify for that recognition. So congratulations to both Jonathan and Bethany on this outstanding recognition, outstanding achievement. And then finally, we also have another note on Bethany Vidrick. She qualified for the girls' state golf tournament. The first round is taking place today, and the second round will resume tomorrow. So we all wish Bethany the best of luck at the state girls' golf tournament. And one more student recognition, Jaden Mayer was recognized in the NFL's Good Morning Football show for a impressive tackle, taking down the running back during a game against Janesville Parker. Jaden was singled out not just for his intensity, but also for his sticking to safe tackling protocol. So we received some national recognition there. So congratulations to Red Hawk students who are doing some wonderful things.
Any questions for Rich? All right, thank you, Rich. Next up, we have a presentation. Update on projects completed on the 5-year capital maintenance and improvement plan for fiscal year 2023-24. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you. So just a reminder that back in February of this year, the board approved the projects that we completed during our tight window of time that we get to do these things in school buildings over the summer. And it's always fun to come back after the fact and report to the board and the public on how those projects went, and be able to share some before and after photos with you guys as well. And these projects are on top of the very hard work that all building custodians put into on an annual basis to get those buildings spick and span and shiny for the start of school. The first attachment that was in the board packet was just a reminder of the sizes of each one of our buildings and what we take care of and what we maintain on an annual basis. You can just see the last additions that were put on in 2020 and 2021 have been added that just show the overall size of what we take care of. And then the PowerPoint presentation. Second slide shows the previous investments that the board has committed over the last 5 years of capital projects, and these projects are outside of the capital referendum that was completed. You see that, the board has approved on an annual basis a minimum of $700,000 through our general fund, and then we've done projects above and beyond through various other methods such as ESSER funds and funds through Fund 80 funds at Shelburne Park and Central Park. For fiscal year 23-24, or projects that were completed this summer, we had just over $820,000 worth of projects completed, and I can walk through those, just showing some before and after photos of how those went. At Milton East, a large project we had there was to replace the original gym floor from 1958 with a synthetic sports floor similar to like Northside Harmony Gym 2. Had a lot of success with that product. Definitely going here at East. And the next slide shows the before photos and an after photo. We also did a paint job there too to really spruce the place up from the 50s. Got a lot of positive feedback on that project so far as well. West, we replaced the original flooring in all of the corridors at West. Throughout the various additions, there's been a lot of different floors put in there to say the least, and we were able to match what we did through the building addition and have a nice flow through the entire building, and really has made a nice improvement there and really replaced a lot of bad damaged tile that was definitely in need of replacement. At Consolidated, they had our large roof project this summer that was replacing roof sections 1 and 2. Roof section 1 is over the gym, roof section 2 is over the central spine of the building. That's just a progress photo of the roof project. Had great weather. Roofers love ground sparingly. Consolidated, just an after picture. Not much exciting about a roof project, but well, as good as you're going to get. North side, we had 2 projects there. One was replacing the exterior gym doors, and we were upgrading to digital controls there. Actually, this is the last building to convert over to our digital control system for our HVAC equipment. And this photo just shows the kind of rotted out hollow metal doors on the left to the new FRP doors with aluminum frames on the right. At the middle school, we replaced a set of hallway fire doors where the new building connected to the existing. And we, through ESSER funds, replaced the 2 original boilers from 1979. Those boilers were actually completed in the previous fiscal year using ESSER funds. And that is an exciting photo for me, a brand new boiler room. But it just shows the old equipment on the left, new equipment on the right. And that was a lot more efficient for natural gas usage moving forward. At high school, we had a few projects, including replacing the exterior door to the 39, finishing off the digital control upgrade in the 94 and 99 editions, and replacing more cooling coils in existing air handling equipment that was touched as part of the capital referendum. And this photo just shows the old entrance to the new. And lastly, we did a couple projects at the district parks. One that we did is epoxy flooring for all restrooms, kitchens, and concession stands at both Shelburne and Central Parks. Those floors turned out great. Looks brand new, and we also finished off phase 2, the final phase for the Shelburne Park Playground equipment addition. This photo shows the before and after that great epoxy flake flooring, and second photo shows the rendering that was presented to the board in February for the playground equipment and the finished project. That wraps up the projects that we completed this summer, and should be back to you guys sometime in February or March to talk through what next year's projects could be.
Okay. Thank you, Stephen. Any questions at all?
Do you go back and do an ROI on the utility projects that you do to ensure the savings on natural gas?
We do. We do that through Focus on Energy too. They help us determine what that natural gas savings would look like. One of the trickier things that we've had to navigate with our recent mechanical upgrades is the increased square footage was done at pretty much the same time that we added on to, square footage and replace the equipment. But we've been able to maintain a level natural gas budget even with the increased square footage. So that's what we really realized in ROI, more cost avoidance for not having to increase our budget through the additional square footage that's
Especially with the increase in costs, obviously leveling the increase in natural gas, because natural gas gone up.
Counting for a different day, but then we're locked in on a cost for natural gas.
Okay.
Both natural gas itself and the transportation of it.
Okay.
But yes.
So you have a contract related to those purchases of gas?
Correct.
Okay.
In general, to your question, though, natural gas prices definitely have gone up. We're hearing, we're seeing that increase. We are locked in, so we're not seeing it financially, but we're hearing about it from other districts, and we know that those prices we'd be seeing a significant increase if we weren't locked in with our pricing.
Thank you.
One other thing that I wanted to share there is we don't have to go back to the slide, but that initial slide that had all of our different sites and the years that they were built and added on to highlights the significant infrastructure that we have as a school district, over 720,000 square feet and over 160 acres of property. So the work that Stephen and his crew does, both the upkeep, the planning for year to year to make sure we're meeting those needs is vitally important, and it's something that we want to continue to make sure that we're being forward-thinking and proactive in maintaining our facilities so that we don't get socked with large unexpected bills down the road.
I have one other question. When I was looking at the building, not this one, the other one, you have 7,638 square feet of children. What is that?
That's our buildings there. So we have, for when you first pull in, you have our kind of maintenance building on the left,
Okay.
our storage building, and then our various storage and restroom facilities that we have at the concession stand area, the pavilion, and football building.
So how come you don't include what's like the football field? Where would be like the football field? The stuff the buildings that are in that?
It's wrapped into the high school square footage.
It's in the high school park. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Do you have any question or comments? I just see the uniformity and just the final look of like floor replacements and stuff. And it's great that each building has a uniform look and level of appearance and updating. Just from the floor paint is definitely really good, and it's it's not on here but my East and stuff. So kudos to your team, you and your team for kind of just the way things turned out and updated those spaces. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Stephen, quick question. From February on this list, we had at West, we had 60,000 for replacing the ventilators.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I meant to bring that up during the presentation. At the time that the board approved the projects in February, that was one of them that wasn't hard numbers at the time, so that was an engineer's estimate. And when everything was all said and done, it came in at just over $40,000 instead of $60,000 in the presentation. That was definitely positive.
But it is done.
That's actually wrapping up as we speak.
Okay.
We just commissioned the unit ventilators today. We ordered them the day after the board approved those projects, and we just received them a week ago. Crazy, but yeah.
Any other questions for Stephen? Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for all you and your team do to help take care of our buildings.
Thanks.
Nice work. Okay, next up is Joint Finance and Policy Committee report from John.
On September 29th, we had a joint finance and policy committee meeting. It was attended by board members Dave, Tracy, Ed, Joe, and myself, along with Rich, Ross, and Carly. We had two non-voting topics on the agenda. First was a legislative update on Senate Bill 395 and Assembly Bill 403. These would repeal the impacts of the 2017 Act 141 for low revenue districts. Rich and Ross recently attended a testimony at the Capitol on the two bills. Along with a handful of the 19 districts affected, Rich and Ross both spoke in favor of the repeal of Act 141. Senate Bill 395 passed the Senate Education Committee on a 7-0 vote. We should be getting more information over the next week or two on that. Second on the agenda was a state budget and tax levy update. It's important to note here a few important key dates to keep in mind. On October 15th, the state releases enrollment and state aid information. Hopefully by this time, we will also have more information from the state on the repeal of Act 141. Our Finance Committee will meet on October 18th to look at this data. At the October 23rd board meeting, the board will set the final levy. When setting the levy, it's been our practice to try to avoid large increases or decreases. Lastly, we discussed school tax credits. These credits have been around a long time as a direct tax relief from the state. The state's 2023 to 25 budget increased appropriation for the school tax levy credits are significantly increased for the first time in 6 years at about 27% from 2024. Because of this school levy tax credit increase, taxpayers can expect an increased credit on their 2024 tax bill. These were the notes from the committee meeting. I'll pass it over to Ross or Rich with any updates or additions you might have.
I don't know that I have anything else. You hit on the main topics. When we get to our upcoming meetings, I'll share the upcoming Finance Committee meeting that we have. Ross, is there anything else that you wanted to add or share to?
No, that Any questions from other board members? All right, thanks, John. Next is new business. The first item is third Friday in September counts. Mr. Dowling.
Yeah, we had shared at an earlier board meeting kind of a broad overview of where the third Friday count was. We do have the official numbers here. Give me a second to open that document up. There are a couple different spreadsheets there, and I'll walk through the highlights of those spreadsheets on the memo, but if there are any more specific questions, let me know. Each year, school districts across the state conduct a pupil count on the third Friday of September. We report those results to DPI. They use a few different versions of the counts in their calculations. You'll see in here a reference to enrollment, and enrollment refers to both resident and non-resident students that are attending our schools. So enrollment is really how many pupils are in our district at each different school and at each different grade level are laid out in the spreadsheets. When we talk about residents, those are students that live within the school district. And then there may be residents who are in that resident count that don't attend our schools. They open and roll out to another school district. There may be students who are counted in our enrollment, but they're not residents if they open and roll in to our district. When you see FTE or full-time equivalency, that's the adjusted head count. The reason that it's not the same as the enrollment is because pre-K students only count as half an FTE and 4K students count as 0.6 of an FTE. And in looking at our third Friday count from this past September, we see that our total enrollment from 4K through 12th grade is 3,447, which is up 20 from last year. That's a very positive trend. That's seeing that increase because we know that we graduated more seniors than we had incoming kindergarten or 4K students. And so to see an increase in enrollment, it means that that's a combination of more families moving into the district than moving out, and an increase in open enrollment that we'll be talking about in just a second. Our K-12 enrollment is 3,258, which is up 39 from last year. And our 4K, pre-K and 4K enrollment is 189, which is down 19 from last year. The largest class that we have this year is our 11th grade class with 268 students, but there are a number of classes that are in the 260s and 250s. Our smallest class is actually both our first and second grade classes have 223 students in them. And Having fewer students at the younger grade levels is not unusual at all. It's a national and a statewide trend that there are fewer students at lower grade levels. Families are having smaller families and waiting longer to have families, so we're seeing what everyone is seeing in that there are fewer younger, 0 through 10-year-olds than there are 11 through 20-year-olds in our community and in communities across the state. Our resident head count is 3,403, which is actually down 35 from last year. That's pre-K through 12th grade. And our FTE is a decrease of 31 from last year. The reason that our enrollment is up, even though our resident numbers is down, is our open enrollment status continues to improve. Our open enroll out is 381, which is 6 fewer students open enrolling out than at this time last year. And our open enrollment in is 423, which is 50 students more open enrolling in than at this time last year. And that's a net open enrollment then of a positive 42, whereas last year we had a net open enrollment of negative 14. And we've seen that be a trend, about a 4 or 5 year trend, where we used to be pretty upside down, if you will, in open enrollment, where there were considerably more students open enrolling out than in. And every year over the last 4 years, this past year we were 14 below outs, fewer ins than outs. And now this year we have 42 more open enroll in than open enroll out. So those numbers have gone to the state. The state has collected those from all districts across the state. They build those into their calculations that they're working on, that they'll be getting to us actually at the end of this week, this Friday. And then we incorporate those numbers that come from the state into our budget, our levy, and our financial projections for this year and for coming years. Questions, thoughts from board members?
On the open enroll, which is a great number, I mean, good to hear that. Is there like a section that we're seeing that growth in? Is it K3? Is it high school? Is it middle school? Or is it just literally spread across the board?
It's a pretty good spread across the board. We see our greatest amount of both open enroll out and open enroll in with the Janesville district, because we're so close, and because the border is heavily populated too. Oftentimes a border between two districts is more rural and not as heavily populated along the border. Our school district border with Janesville is very heavily populated and very much growing. So we do see a number of families from a lot of different districts, but from that area especially, open enrolling in, but that area is also our most common area for families to open enroll out.
I did hear on the news report, I'm sure you did as well, that the Janesville third Friday was down. So again, Milton is looking, more positive and bringing up students. One other question on the slide with all the colors. It says under the middle school alt wired, and it has a 1.
Just a second to pull that document up.
I didn't see the wired program listed in any of the other schools.
Can you let me know again where you're speaking to, Tracy?
So on Carly's got it up. It's under the middle school. The bottom, it says all wired, and there's a 1 under 8.
Oh, there's our wired program is mainly for high school students, and it's students who are doing a virtual or electronic education. We have 1 middle school student that's taking part in that.
So would the other students be rolled into the other numbers, or is it saying there's only 1 student currently enrolled in wired?
No, the others are rolled into the other.
Okay, that's all I was asking. All right, thank you.
Rich, what was our estimated number last time we talked about this, before we had the final?
I would need to go back and take a look. I don't have it in front of me. I know that we were anticipating fairly flat enrollment. In our financial projections, we projected level open enrollment. So being plus 40 in open enrollment rather than level is a positive for our financial projections moving forward.
Any other questions? All right, thanks, Rich. Next is discussion and possible action on early graduation requests. Jeremy?
All right, it is that time of the year for our early grads. So in the presentation in the doc, you'll see we have 2 students that are scheduled to be done at the end of the first trimester and 31 at the end of the second trimester. You'll notice, the first trimester does end at the end of November. We have it listed as a January 1st date, so this is a 2024 diploma because there's a class of 2024. That's why you see the date there. Students need to have finished all 24 of their credits and their credits for graduation to qualify. And for the 2 students, graduating after your first try senior year is relatively rare. There's a higher bar for that. They have to meet with me. They have to be open. They have to be enrolled in a post-secondary program already that's starting second semester at that location. Or in the case of one of these individuals, they are in one of Amy's youth apprenticeship programs that actually he has been very successful at, and they want him to start with a full apprenticeship starting as soon as they can. And so he is requirements and is starting his full apprenticeship actually in early December. The other 31, that number is actually a little down. Last year we had 55. For most students, when they finish up after second try, again, that is after the first week of March. Those are students that oftentimes they've completed their program, they've completed their credits, they're starting work to get ready for college next year, or in many cases starting, again, doing the apprenticeship programs and are able to get more hours in the apprenticeship by graduating.
Thank you, Jeremy. Any questions on this?
Is this a one-time presentation, I
Yes.
guess? So,
I bring it at this meeting in October. I'll bring these each year.
okay, but is there an opportunity for early graduation post this, or is there a hard cutoff at the high school?
No, there are some rare cases where the situation changes. At some point, we may have. That's a good point. Sometimes there's rare circumstances where there'll be another student who would like to graduate early. We state that you have to go through this process, but if there are considering circumstances, often due to health or other issues, we may allow them to graduate early. One thing too, for especially all the second try grads, sometimes they've applied now, but every single year we have students who they get to the end of their second try and they say, you know what, I'd like to actually stay the third trimester, and we always give them a schedule. If they'd like to stay, they can change their minds. And there's always a few like that.
Jeremy, for those who early graduate, if they would have otherwise had spring activities, are they able to participate? I assume they still graduate.
They still graduate. They're not allowed to participate in a spring athletic contest. They're active students that have graduated, so they're not going to be spring sports. In some cases, we did allow one person to finish driving the car when we had the high mileage vehicle process. He was the little guy that fit in the car. He could then drive that and the high mileage. We allow them to come to the prom still, but for the athletes, they do not have that.
I'll move to approve the early graduation request as presented.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Motion from Tracy, seconded by John to approve these requests. Any questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay, that motion carries. Thank you, Jeremy. And you are still up there with early college credit program, Start College Now.
All right, so the 2 programs in the state of Wisconsin, just for those that are new, Start College Now allows high school students in Wisconsin to take classes through the technical college system, and early college credit program allows them to take classes through the UW system. All the students, the 22 students that submitted applications for Start College Now and the 4 for ECCP have met all the requirements. They are pretty important. They'd like to take these classes for the second semester, the second half of the year. I reviewed all their applications. They've met all
And this is not an action item?
It is not an action item, it's an informational, so I'm bringing it to you each, twice a year for the first half of the year and the second half of the year, because state law requires us to, that they have to be able to take these classes. One note too, in both cases, if a student enrolls and we pay the tuition, if they choose to drop the course or if they fail the course, they do have to reimburse the district cost.
Thank you. Any questions for Jeremy? Thank you, Jeremy.
All right, thank you.
Okay, next up is MREC, new tumbling and gymnastics program, and I don't see Lance here, but Chris, are you taking this one?
Yes, I will be helping out. Lance is working on things at the high school, so I'll be presenting this evening. In your board docs is a memo from Lance and myself that introduced a new MREC program. This is tumbling and gymnastics. And back in 2021, August, Lance proposed adding a dance studio program. And during that time, we brought that for board approval because we did not have established rates to pay the dance instructor and the assistant. So at that time, the board approved $16 an hour for an assistant and $19 an hour for the head dance instructor. We are proposing to pay the instructors for the gymnastics and tumbling program the same rates. So this is going to be a new program that we're going to be rolling out later this fall, early this winter, but it's more of a FYI for the board that we're going to continue with the same rates. That's why we're bringing it forward tonight as that FYI to you.
Okay, thank you, Chris. Any questions at all about this?
Is there a critical mass that needs to be reached before we held? You know, I know it projects in here 25 to 35 students. Is there a minimum number that needs to hit forward or if any goals? We'll go ahead and that's an argument see that. However, if Lance hits over that, over those numbers, we'll definitely be hiring additional folks. And so when we hire those additional folks at those rates shared, that information will be brought for the board for their review on the staffing report. Right now, it's purely projections that he has. So he's hoping for that 25 to 35 range to be able to, for that $40 per student per session to help cover those costs or offset those costs.
What if we get 5 people that sign up? We still continue?
That I would have to ask Lance on that one. He has a plan just like he did with the dance program. I think that the reason that he's bringing this forward now is because he's had quite a bit of interest. So looking at 5, I don't think we're going to get 5, and that's where he's ranging or roughing it approximately 25 to 35.
How long does it run? How many weeks?
There's 2 sessions. Then we just look here.
I was looking to see if I could see, because it's $40 per session, so if a student wanted to do it, they could do it each week, or they would.
There's a kindergarten and through 3rd grade classes and a 4th through 6th grade class, and that's being offered weekly, and we start at the end of November and beginning of December, and then end December, beginning of January.
So maybe 5 weeks or so?
Yes.
Okay.
Approximately, correct.
Gotcha. I think it's great, especially if there's a need, and I know what I heard through the district, the dance program went over really, really well. I was in high school once when they were all there, and they escaped. That little was running around. But I think it's great. It's a great opportunity for the district, community members to be at the high school, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Yes, and then I believe it would be held in the gymnastics room. Those off nights, gymnastics teams. And just kind of foreshadow, so if you remember, back in June, the board approved the seasonal, occasional, and temporary employee rates. We will be adding those positions to this for next year as well. So that's, again, the same rates. I think the board needs to approve this evening or review this evening other than what we shared. But we'll be bringing this back again in June of 24.
Thank you, Chris. Any other questions for Chris? All right, thank you. Next up is miscellaneous. A is action on staffing reports.
I would move to approve the staffing report as presented.
Okay, a motion from Dave, with a second from Tracy to approve the staff report. Any questions on that? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
They're opposed? Okay, that carries. Next up is action on gifts and donations.
I'll move to approve the gifts and donations with gratitude.
Second. Okay, a motion from John, seconded by Ed to approve the gifts and donations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. And next up, meeting dates, Rich?
We have a couple upcoming committee meetings. We have an HR committee meeting on October 11th. It's Wednesday this week. It's at 10 a.m. in the first floor conference room. And then on the following Wednesday, October 18th, we have a finance committee meeting that I referred to earlier. That is at 6 p.m. and that will also be in the first floor conference room. At that meeting, we will have the information from the state regarding the levy for the coming year. And then our next regularly scheduled board meeting is 2 weeks from tonight on Monday, October 23rd at 6:30 here in PTC.
Is that it? That's it for meetings? Rich?
That is it.
All right, that's all we have tonight.
I'll move to adjourn.
Okay. Okay, motion from Tracy, seconded by Dave to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.